Greetings. What's up? It's Deborah, and I want to talk today about business as usual. So, someone asked me, Deborah, what is business as usual? And you need to be more specific about that. So, I thought I'd be a little more clear. Business as usual are the practices that we have adopted as the norm, right? And now when we see unconventional solutions to sales or marketing or delivery, any of it in business, it is coming in reaction to or in response to the things that we've seen as the established norm. So these are things like profit first, rules before people, right? Oh, sorry, ma'am, can't help you. This is our policy. um, it comes from things like acquiescing to customer demands, even if they're totally unhealthy for the customer themselves and for other living, breathing beings here on the planet. It can be things like beating the competition, or you know, anything where there's like a low trust environment, right? Which is very, very common in most scenarios. And whether it's a big corporation or a small company, we see these things. Maybe it's like also extracting the most. This is a big one. Extracting the most out of people. Like whether it's the supplier, the vendor, like seeing how much you can get from them, or the employees, or even the customers. Trying to extract as much. And I'm not here. This is not me on a high horse. I'm not here saying I am a saint and I've never fallen into any of these categories before. The difference now, though, what I really wanted to talk about here, because we always go from the inside out, right? So it's really not about what's going on out there. But the difference right now, other than apparently somebody needing to be in a hurry, the difference right now is that we are. Wait a second. Okay. The difference now is that we're in we have an opportunity to go within and see what is actually okay for me and what's not, which we couldn't do. I remember when I first learned in my first or second sales training that I learned the things that I was told and then convinced I believed temporarily felt so wrong in my body, but I wasn't noticing that. It's kind of like when I was going to work and I was working in an environment, and I was always trying to steal out, take longer lunches, or take multiple breaks outside because I just wanted to get outside, right, and feel the sun on my skin. That's all I wanted to do. I wanted fresh air. I wanted to feel the sun. Why? Because in that cubicle, in that floor, and with all of that, it was so not healthy for my body, and I just wanted to always escape, physically escape the building. And it took me years later to figure out, oh my goodness, that's why I really wasn't listening to my body. It was screaming like, get me the heck out of here. This is not a place for me to be. So when we start to listen to our bodies, that's like a really simple way to start to see whether something is aligned for you or not, right? Like, how do I know if I'm being myself or not? Like, just notice what your body's doing. So one of my tells, like I said, for business as usual, I get a stomach ache. Like I'll start to feel nauseous. I'll feel like, bleh, and I'll just get this really gross feeling like, oh, get it off, get it off. Then I know it is time for me to switch gears and to move away from whatever it might be. Whether it's something that just feels very like tough competition. You gotta get your angle. You gotta get your edge. You gotta win your market share. Or it could be just something really, really small, like somebody saying, ma'am, we can't help you because this is our policy. And I'm like, all common sense points to just help me out in this situation. But you have some paperwork, and you can, and it's not going to cost you anything, but you have some paperwork that says you can't. And so that's what you follow, right? So in a similar situation, on the flip side of it, when I listen to and when I really feel or experience universal principles in action, I always feel warmer, bigger, tingly, and I lean in. And then I know, okay, this is something I need to pay attention to. For example, things like we're all one, we're all connected. So whatever I do to you, I'm doing to myself, which would eliminate like 90% of business as usual problems if we just operated on that one tenet of understanding that we're not as separate as we think we are, right? Another really simple one is we all have a unique, vital, irreplaceable role. I mean, what would that do to the concept of competition or, you know, worrying about our jobs or worrying about whether we'll have enough customers or whatever the situation might be, right? Like that all goes out the window with just that one concept or one principle of knowing that there's something that you are here for, there's something that I am here for, there's something that everyone is here for that only we as individuals can accomplish. No one else can do it. Like no one else is qualified to do what we're here to do, right? We spend so much time trying to fit in and trying to gain acceptance or from society, from our institutions, and from the people around us that we stop wondering what's unique about us and how can we develop and expand that so that we never have to worry about somebody replacing us. We're not replaceable. And even if people think they can replace us, that's okay. We know that we'll always find a way to do what it is we're here to do. Like that's a completely different place, man. It's just like it's night and day. So business as usual, a simple way, and again, your body will tell you what it is. But for me, a lot of times I feel tight, I feel tense, I feel stressed. I'm not breathing very well. I'm breathing very shallow, or almost not at all. Um, I've got a furrowed brow. Maybe I'm getting a headache. Maybe I'm looking for when my next break is. When's lunch? When can I go outside? Those are all clues that I'm in something that's not the right thing for me to be engaging with. And so then over the years, once I started learning how to pay attention to those tells, I would just notice them and I'd spend less and less time in environments where I felt like that. So obviously it doesn't just apply to business, it applies to any place. I was in another environment that was for families and I felt the same way, and so I quickly exited. So hopefully this helps, right, to help us to understand what's business as usual and what's universal principles. Now I want to say one more thing before I go. There's nothing wrong with business as usual practices when they are governed by timeless universal principles. The problem is that most of the time they're not. They're governed by fear, greed, and a whole bunch of other things that make it very difficult for people to actually thrive and be healthy. I often say that most workplaces are not healthy for humans because they're set up in such a way that they create so much fear, so much restriction that the true gifts that each employee, the true gifts that everyone who's associated with that company are here to give, they cannot give. They literally are being blocked from delivering that and contributing that in one form or another. So if you resonate with this, let me know in the comments, what's one business as usual practice that you would love to leave in the dust? Like if you never saw it again, if you never had to do it again, it would not be a problem in your life. I would love to read that in the comments. On the flip side, if there's one specific principle that you really lean into, for example, we're all one, or we all have a vital and unique role, or we're always supported, I would love to see that in the comments too. All right. Thanks so much for watching. Much love.